Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to the Man United agenda, and it is EFL Cup time. Looking forward to this one. Well, hello everyone. This is the Man United agenda, and my name is Rebel. I haven't been seen for a while, but here I am, and I'm of course joined by Pat Lawless, who's somewhere north of me at the moment, and across the pond in England, Omundi Juma. How are we both doing, lads?
Not bad, Rebel. Good to have you back, man.
We still can't see you, though, Rebel, unfortunately. But yeah, it's good to have you back, man. It's been a long time coming, and you're back. And yeah, it's you're back covering the game after we got whooped at the weekend. And I prefer to sort of would have met you when you were more enthusiastic when we were on a winning streak. But now we're coming back off a loss. So I want to know what you think, because I've spoken to you for so long about what's been going on with Man United up until the weekend.
He's back to raise a spirit, he is, Omundi. He's back to raise us up, you know what I mean? Bring that big cheesy grin back.
Here, as you know, this is for technical reasons, but just briefly, you can't see me.
Oops. There we can now.
There we are now. But Amanda, you raised a very good question. And I think we have been rocked a bit by the fact that we picked up a few injuries. And I suppose the squad isn't as deep as it once was, while it's undeniable that the starting 11 has improved immensely in the players that have come in. I think we do probably need some of the younger players to get a bit more experience in their boots, or have a few short-term lads to come in to give us that bit of depth. We did feel the pinch a bit when both Varane and Lindelof were injured, because that meant there was literally two centre-backs available. And if anything happened to either one of those guys in any of those games that they were responsible for, we were looking at putting a square peg into a round hole. But look, that is an issue that can be dealt with over a few windows. In terms of the game play that we've been doing, I can't deny that we have been playing much better football. It's been absolutely a joy to watch. I do love the flair that Anthony brings to the pitch. And seeing Garnacho embracing his opportunities, obviously he's been accused a bit of naivety in the way that he goes about his play at the moment. But I have read that Martinez is very protective of his fellow countrymen and wants to make sure that he reaches the highest potentials that he is capable of. And I'd say if anybody tried to do anything to Garnacho, they would be answering.
You know what? I'd love to see it. Wouldn't it be just great, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Now, gents, we can't but acknowledge that we were whipped at the weekend by Unai Emery and his Aston Villa team. Now, obviously, as they say, a wounded animal is obviously a very dangerous thing. I'm going to start with one bit of information before we do press on. We are, of course, a sponsored channel now, and that is by GMS, the Global Mapping Surveys. And they provide architects and property developers and construction companies all over the United Kingdom a wide range of services, such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning monitoring, and the link is, of course, in the description. Pat knows a lot more about this stuff than we do, but we are very grateful to our sponsors for their contribution to the channel. But on Monday, coming forward into this League Cup fixture, it is, of course, against the same opposition that we did lose 3-1 to. There's obviously a number of players that done us damage, the likes of Ramsey, etc. Where do you see the issues for Manchester United coming when they replay this fixture on Thursday?
Well, welcome back, Rebel. It's great to have you back, and it was really interesting your views on what's been happening. It's great to see you happy about the progression as well. And there has been progression by the club. I think we're over Aston Villa. If you look at our squad, we were better than them, I believe. But they had that will, they had that desire, things that you can't sort of buy. You either got it, you don't. And as a team, they went out there and set themselves onto us like dogs. And we couldn't handle it. We didn't go with it. And unfortunately, it was a mindset thing. It's an attitude thing. And this is where we should stood up and been counted and battled them and not allowed them to run us off the park. You know, that early blitz they had on us, it destroyed us from the game because we don't score many goals. So I was very impressed with Bailey. I think that first goal he scored was outstanding. He's so quick. When we love Martinez, don't we? But Martinez tried to go with him, didn't even get close enough to sort of go to ground or get a slide tackle on him because he was just pop, and gone. And he's just rapid. We saw that in the pre-seasons again against Aston Villa. He came on and changed the game for Aston Villa and got them back in the game. That was in Australia, or I think it was in Australia, yeah. So Aston Villa, very good side. Gerrard's brought some good players. Now Emery's got to work with them. And I think he's going to do a better job, clearly, with the players that he's got because he's more experienced and he knows he's got a bit more know-how than Gerrard, who's just still a novice, as you say. So I like Liam Bailey. As a Jamaican myself, I'm impressed to see what he's doing at Leverkusen. He's injury-free, hopefully, now, and we can see the best of him. And I think if you do see the best of him, he's going to be one of the most outstanding players in the Premiership, like he proved the other day. Almost unstoppable.
Absolutely. No, Pat, of course they led the line from the start with Ollie Watkins in that last game. And there's a very underrated striker in Danny Ings that I imagine Unai Emery is going to look to take full advantage of. He has been on the goal trail of late. Do you think that we could see a leading line for Ings in that game? And do you think he'll bring a different threat to what Ollie offered?
I felt that Unai went to deliberately catches on... just catch us on the hop and get us. If he wanted to go for goals, he would have brought on Danny Ings, because Danny Ings, let's be honest there, he's the one who's going to get the most goals of all them strikers. But is he as fast as the rest of them? No, he's not. So Unai knew what he was doing straight away by starting with the likes of Leon Bailey up front and Ollie Watkins. So if he goes with Danny Ings starting against Manchester United now on Thursday, I'd say we're going to see a completely different style of play altogether from Unai Emery.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to hit you, Monday, with a centre-back question. Now, Tyrone Mings, quite possibly, is the only player outside of Harry Maguire that receives more abuse than any other English centre-back. Did we target what is seen as deficiencies in Tyrone Mings' defensive play enough? And did he kind of stick it up to us a bit that he is better than advertised?
No, look, let's standard on this. He's physical, 6'5", is a unit. He's pretty fast as well once he gets his legs going. So these are the standard things he's got. I just don't think he's got the IQ to be all the experience to be a top-rate centre-back. Remember, he was a left-back at Ipswich Town and at Bournemouth at one point, So he's sort of been moulded into the position because of his height, and sometimes using his physicals, that's where he does well. But you've seen numerous mistakes that he's made where they've made errors and it's all been down to him not defending properly. So he can be got at, and I just think you get him by having short, sharp movement in the box or little quick 1-2s or quick sort of popping the ball out to beat him. That's how you beat him. If you want to have a physical battle with him, you're likely to lose because of his physical attributes, So I think there's a player there who is being trusted with the responsibility of leading the line for Aston Villa, and I think he's failed them many times. I don't think he's good enough. I really don't. I'm a centre back myself. I think he's got a lot to develop in his game to really be stepping up there. And I just think it shows the weakness in England, for example, who are going into a World Cup with Tyrone Mings on the cusp of maybe getting the squad. That's a disaster.
There we have it. The defensive coach has laid down the law. Pat, come in there and defend Tyrone Mings.
No, I'm not. He's just a big and intimidating fella that likes to throw his weight around the place. And sometimes in games like what we had on Sunday, where Manchester United were chasing the game, that's the ideal character you want in there. Manchester United were doing their utmost to try and score a goal. They were frustrated, and all he was doing his best to upset us, get in our way, causing the odd foul. Look, I thought Matty Cash struggled with Garnacho at times there. And Garnacho's only a kid. And as talented as the young lad is, like if Jane Sancho was on form there, he'd have had Matty Cash in bed that night with cold sweats thinking about the performance that Jadon Sancho would have put against him. Like even Konza, I had my hands up there and pronounced his name wrong. Konza was struggling as well. I didn't think defensively they were sound. I think our biggest weakness against them was ourselves. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. If we can come on point, lads, with shooting this weekend, it'll be a different story.
Pat, I'm going to touch on one final Villa player. And I know he's a young lad that you're a big fan of, and you've been keeping an eye on him as of late. Jacob Ramsey. He done untold damage to us in the Premier League fixture. How special is this kid, and what does he bring to that Villa team that causes so much danger to teams he faces?
Well, we're all talking about Leon Bailey's electric pace. I thought Ramsey had excellent pace. He was everywhere. In fairness to that young lad, he was in the Villa box, retrieving the ball and coming out with it. He was breaking up play. He was coming at us. It felt like he was everywhere the weekend. I think he was probably one of the man of the match performances there the weekend. I don't get to see him play regularly enough to know if he plays like that all the time. But from what I got to see there on Sunday, he was an impressive young lad.
Okay,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, just to add to him, I think he's a really robust, strong youth, as they say, coming true. He's only young, but he's physical. He can bounce. People bounce off him. And I'm watching the under-21s as well, playing with the likes of our guy Garner and Conor Gallagher. These guys, they've got quite a few midfielders like that. But he's so physical. His physicals are so good. He's like Troy Deeney playing up front. Or Antonio, he's got that sort of strength, and you could even play him at centre back as well with that sort of strength. He's that physical, but on top of that, he's got a bit of a composure and drive and technique as well, which makes him a superior player to most others of his age range. You know, so he's one to look out for. I think he's a really talented player, youth, as they say, coming true, and Aston Villa are really lucky to have him. It's just about consistency now, proving game in, game out that he's got ability and just raising his game a little bit, be a bit more technical. Let's see what his long-range passing is like, short-range passing, because at the moment, I'm talking about physical attributes like that. Technical attributes are sort of there at the moment. I want him to improve, and then he'll become a more complete player.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely someone I'd imagine that a lot of clubs are keeping an eye on to see if he can flourish into something that may be worthy of a top 6 team at some point in the future. Maybe even it'll be Aston Villa themselves. But lads, before we move on to matters Manchester United themselves in this fixture, do you expect any changes from Unai in the Villa lineup, or will he go with a full strongest 11 on Thursday?
Ooh, it's bringing Danny Ings into the side is what I think might change something. Like, it might change the formation. Like, they started off with a 4-2-3-1. Do you think he might change that? Bringing Danny Ings into the side, he might go for be a bit more compact. What do you reckon, Omundi?
I reckon that under Gerrard, there's 2 issues they had. They had 2 strikers, so they could have played. A couple of times they went 3-5-2, I believe, to utilize 2 quad strikers in Watkins and Danny Ings. And then so a couple of times when they played 3, it had to be Ings in the middle, Watkins out wide. He would sacrifice himself, play out wide, and then maybe a Liam Bailey. Because Liam Bailey's been injured, they've had to change formations and mix up a bit. They haven't got the quality as Liam Bailey being there. And I don't think, you talk about rotation here, Rebel, I don't think they've got the ability to rotate like we can, really. They're not going to throw in all the youngsters. They've got talented lot of youngsters, but I don't think they're going to throw them in. It's not like they're playing a first or second division side. They're playing Man United at Old Trafford, and he wants to go out there again. You might see Ashley Young starting instead of Luca Dina. Am I saying that right, Pat?
Yeah. No, we're always keeping each other on our toes.
And a couple other players. You had the Scottish guy come on. Who I think
you took the words out of my mouth there. You John McGinn, and then you have Boubacar Kamara. So, is there a possibility that these 2 lads might start on Monday?
Well, that's the rotation. Yeah, that's the only rotation. Coutinho's out for a long time now. That's the rotation that we're talking about here. Kamara, John McGinn, Ashley Young. It's just senior players. coming
So
in.
you,
It's nothing.
with the likes of Kamara and the likes of McGinn and maybe even Sanson coming into the team, maybe they mightn't be going for such a pacey attack on Manchester United and probably try and break us down a bit more, or I don't know. But I don't think he'll change it too much. I think Emery has to make an impression on them Villa fans, and if he can beat Manchester United twice in 1 week, he may as well look for a goal plate of Throne at Villa Park. So if I was doing Emery, I'd be going for the juggler now. In fairness,
Ironically, I
changing
think
that.
it was last year that we faced Stevie G in a cup shortly after a league game as well. And it was a game apiece, so maybe it could be a question of looking at the same again. But you did mention about Ings starting up top. In the game against Newcastle, they did start with Ings up top, and it was three of Bailey, Buendia, and Watkins that were behind them. Now, incidentally, they were hammered 4-0 in that game, but I'd imagine maybe Watkins is more comfortable through the centre. But lads, we've talked enough about the opposition. I think it's time now that we looked at our own crew, and that is via the solo 11. Now, I know the bossman isn't on tonight, but he is lurking there in the comms, no doubt. But this is his selection. Now, he's gone with quite an interesting lineup. He has sought for a change in goalkeeper. So we might just touch on that first, lads. Your comments on the goalkeeping matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straight away, I'm looking at it going, I just can't see it happening because it would have happened by now. I think he's just trying to play De Gea all the time as the strongest goalkeeper. I don't know whether he's trying to train De Gea into being a better goalkeeper, improve on what he's doing, because he would have given the bracket a chance by now.
Yeah, it's interesting that because Dubravka's got all the attributes that we want in a sweeper keeper. And we've seen that we've had to adapt over the last few weeks to De Gea for his lack of kicking ability and distribution. So I would like to see Dubravka just to see him play. And I think it's always a question of, look, anyone who's sort of on the cusp of the first team, even the goalkeeper, should be played in the League Cup. No matter if we're playing Villa, who beat us the other day, I think he deserves a run out. And I'd be interested to see how much he values this cup. Because really, it's all about the Champions League. It's all about the top four. It's all about the Europa League at the moment. I would devalue this because you still got the FA Cup to come, and just maybe get a run out. And as punishment for losing the other day, maybe give some of these other players an opportunity. Because if you're sitting on the sidelines all this time, like the goalkeeper is right now, you'd say, well, when am I getting my opportunity? And this should be it. You lost the other day, and you're talking about attitude, manager. You were cussing the players, saying they didn't have the right attitude. Here I am. Let me step up.
Pat, I think the other kind of interesting features there is, I think for a long time on the channel, people are saying that Dalot does need a rest. We cannot flog him at the rate that we've been flogging him in games. So he has selected Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and obviously the other interesting one that he's dropped is Eriksen, who arguably again is in need of a rest, and he's brought in the man that he loves so well, Fred. Any thoughts on those particular selections? Because I think they're the main two that drop out in the defence and the midfield.
As much as I love to see everybody get a run, lads, do you not feel like there's too many changes made here? And I can't see Erik ten Hag going along with that. What do you think?
Monday?
He doesn't seem to make that many changes from what I've seen from Erik ten Hag so far.
This is the cup. It would just be interesting to see with this lower. Look, we've got the FA Cup above this. This is the lowest of the cups. Maybe he might give a run out. You might see some of the youngsters. You might see Iqbal, for example. You might see Garnacho again. I just think it'd be interesting to see. I find it hard to predict. But if he does go for the full squad, then I'll be saying, come on, man, give these other guys a run out. I think it's time for squad rotation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, if I was to have my way at that squad there, and we were to go for a full squad rotation there, I would have Jadon Sancho on the left, and I'd have Anthony on the right. Jadon Sancho should be back with us this Thursday because he had a short illness last week, and there's a possibility now Anthony should be back by the 10th. We're not 100% sure on that. I'm just going by reports I've heard at the moment. If he's going for squad rotation, then again, I wouldn't be starting Bruno. I'd be keeping Bruno for the Fulham game on Sunday, and I'd have Donny van de Beek in there. I'd have Fred, rest Eriksen, Casemiro, Malacia, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So it's not a bad team there. The only thing I changed there would be Donny for Bruno, and I'd have Anthony on the right instead of Sancho. and Sancho on the left for Marcus. If he's
No.
going, because I haven't respected that cup since it was called the Coca-Cola Cup, and I don't even think I respected it back then.
Pat, I'm going to have to get you to elaborate on the Donny van der Beek selection, because a lot of people felt that he didn't really establish his position with authority in the game in the Premier League, and that he hadn't really shown enough that would warrant that he should get a second run. Do you think this is a bit unfair, or do you think, given the nature of the fixtures, we just have to suck it up and live with possibly not quite as good a version of Bruno being placed in that position?
Okay, so what we said about Donny already was it wasn't Donny's fault that we didn't get the 2 goals went in from Aston Villa in the game on Sunday. So I thought, unfortunately for Donny, he came back into a game that we weren't expecting to get hopped off 3-1. And that was just unfortunate for Donny van der Beek. If Bruno had been playing there, we probably would have seen a more of an attacking outlet from him. But I don't think Bruno would have added anything more to the team performance than Donny would have done it. So I think Donny deserves game time. And if it's going to be a cup game and we're going to be rotating players, I think Donny's the man to play in there. And then Bruno's back for the game on Sunday.
Absolutely. Now, Omundi, I'm going to ask you one particular question that has come to mind. I'm looking there at Anthony Martial and Jadon Sancho, both who probably definitely need 60 to 70 minutes in their legs, kind of coming up towards the final Premier League game and obviously that World Cup tournament. How crucial is it for them to get through these minutes, whatever it is that Ten Hag gives them on Thursday, without getting any niggles or knocks?
Really good question, Rebel, because the World Cup is coming up now and it will be playing on people's minds. Casemiro has asked a question recently, and Eriksen, about the World Cup coming up. And obviously they gave the right answers. It's, oh no, we're taking every game as it comes. We're going to be committed as possible. But I do sense, look, imagine in the Man United camp, you've got Fred, Casemiro, Anthony, 3 players who will be buzzing maybe about getting into the squad, which was announced recently. That will be on their minds, no doubt about it. They're lying if they say it wouldn't be. This is for the World Cup for Brazil means so much for these players, and they want to be there. I'm telling you, it's bigger than the Premiership. It's bigger than the Champions League. It's bigger than the League Cup. I mean, come on now.
They're going to be pulling up trees.
Say sorry, Pat. What's that, mate?
They're going to be pulling up trees, the Brazilian lads, for the performance on Sunday.
Well, I think sometimes they might not. If it's 50-50, are you really going to go in? I've seen Casemiro go to ground a couple of times. Woo, you're lucky. You know what I mean? He could have got a leg break there or something like that. That's his game. Is he going to be concerned? He's going to hold back. I don't know. Is Anthony going to hold back? Say, look, boss, is he faking it? I'm not putting it out there, but is he faking injury? Is he sort of holding back now? I'm a bit injured. Haven't been well for the last few games. Pulled a muscle. You can't really disguise that because he wants to be ready for the World Cup. Who knows? But I know, as I repeat again, Brazil. If you're Brazilian, the World Cup is everything. So I think they want to be there, and it's a case now where the manager needs to he would only know by working with them in the training ground whether they're on it or not. And if you're not on it, just rest them and get someone else in.
Very good point, gentlemen. I think the last glaringly obvious thing, and speaking of high reputations, he has opted to leave Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't seen a lot of action for Manchester United this year. I wonder, will Cristiano be getting concerned about the number of minutes he has put in, or is he actually relieved that he might be a bit fresher coming into this international series, that he hasn't actually endeavoured in as many games as he would have this time last year? And is he actually going to survive January, in your opinions, just kind of looking at it in the long term?
Being a striker on 500,000 a week, or whatever he's on, but we all imagine he's on something like that. Manchester United fans are going to start becoming impatient with the amount of opportunities that are being missed. And I'm starting to get that feeling now myself, because as the games go on, even the Europa, the game on Sunday, there's more and more subtle chances that could have been put away. And you can see he's becoming more frustrated with himself with the chances that he's losing. Now, people like ourselves, we remember the good times with Ronaldo, so we're a bit more patient and we hope for the best for him. But I'm starting to sense that Manchester United fans are going to start losing that patience soon. So maybe the World Cup's coming up at a good time. Maybe he can find a bit of form in the World Cup and come back a bit stronger.
And one day, anything to add on that front?
Look, there has been issues with Ronaldo. I'm sorry, but the system, or people say the system's not up to him. Maybe he's not put it in as much. Likewise with the Brazilians, I think the World Cup means a lot to him for his legacy. At the moment, his legacy is involving the Europa League, and that's not good enough for him. So his season is sort of aimed for perfection. You know, like these, like Mr. Universe, for example, they peak at the right time. Athletes peak for the Olympics. You know, I think Ronaldo is probably trying to peak for the World Cup. That is showtime for him, and you can't deny that. You cannot deny that for him. If you imagine if he smashed it in the World Cup, gets another couple of goals, maybe gets them far, and maybe he tries to win it, because Portugal got fantastic side player-wise, you know. So, and he will be the main man naturally, because he owns all the players. He's above all the players. They look up to him. So I think he's looking for the World Cup. He's got the game time now. You wouldn't say he's rusty. He's been playing a few games now, and I think after the World Cup, it's the January transfer window, and he could be out of here. Who knows? So I think Ronaldo, especially, and the Brazilian guys as well, and most players as well, even the English players, the World Cup means a lot. Once it starts, we'll all be into it. At the moment, we're all on Man United and the Premiership, but the World Cup is huge as well. We have to give it that respect that it deserves. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But as for Ronaldo and Man United, it was not like last season, is it? He's not scoring the goals. Something's not quite right. I can't quite put my finger on it. Is it his attitude, or is it the new manager who desires something more from a player in that position?
Just to finish up on Ronaldo, obviously he is one of the 3 ex-Real Madrid players that we have now at this point, Casemiro and Varane being the other 2. A very interesting Europa League draw came out there on Monday, and that is that we drew Barcelona, a foe that those players will be very familiar with. So I'd imagine the motivation levels might increase, given now that fixture is on the table. But before we come to the final area, which is the score predictions, I want to remind us all that we are, of course, sponsored by GMS Global Mapping Surveys, and they assist architects, property developers, and companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services, such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, monitoring, and the link, of course, is located in the description of this outpost. So, lads, we are getting to that stage. It is score prediction time. Anyone in the comments, please do give us your score predictions, and we will hopefully chat to you about them. But Pat, how do you see this one going?
How do I see it going? I want it to be a 3-0 revenge. Can I see us scoring 3 goals? If Anthony Martial starts, Jadon Sancho and Anthony, and probably Marcus Rashford. But I can't. No, that's not going to happen. I'm just trying to put everybody in bar Ronaldo. If Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Martial, Sancho, Rashford, Bruno, if they start, I think we'll get goals. If they don't, it could end up being something like a 1-1.
On Monday, I'm not sure, is there a sense in asking you, have you navigated from your 1-0 control of the game, or will we have a new Monday giving us a different scoreline?
So many variables as we've sort of gone through with the show today. You've given me a lot of food for thought. I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw and go to penalties. I think it's penalties straight away because of the factors that we've just been talking about. Players might not be on it. They might be saving themselves, holding back a little bit. Might be stalemate with the way they set up the systems, especially with the new manager they've got in Emery. He might just set up to play that way, the Spanish way. He knows that way so well to, soak up pressure and keep possession and, be like Pat was saying, mid-block against mid-block. It's just neutralise each other. I think it could be a 0-0 or 1-1 and go to penalties like that.
And would you like Harry Maguire to score the winning penalty and throw it on Mings to miss?
I would love it if Harry Maguire. As I say, I'd love it if Harry Maguire scores the goal because he's still a Man United player, and I want him to do well.
And Mings the miss.
Yeah. Well, that's standard. I think that will happen anyway.
It's all love for Harry Maguire. Now, for myself, I am going to utilise a point that was made earlier on, and certain players have missed action due to injuries, and they're going to be eager to prove to their international managers that they are match sharp. So I think it could actually inspire United to possibly go for the juggler, 3-0 United, and Martial is going to get a double if he is fit enough.
I
But
like that.
lads, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both on my return leg on the Man United agenda.
The rebel return.
I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. But I think, lads, from us, it's time to end the show. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy this live, and we will be back with you again tomorrow. All the best. Thank you, and good night.